Well, hello. This is Carl Wagner, and some of you might not know me or personally, because we only know each other through the internet from Beat Cancer. And if you didn't know, I'm a little bit of a gardener, just a hobby. You can see I don't throw anything away. You can see my shirt here. It says it's from 2014, and it's now 2021. So I'm going to give you a little tour of the garden, and this may be fun for me, maybe not for you. Okay, here we go. Well, welcome back to my little garden patch here. These are lettuce that volunteered from last year. That's all growing in, and I'm letting that go to seed, and I'll collect those seeds. And these are all carrots that are going to seed. I'll have thousands of seeds from that. That's a little volunteer tomato plant there. Came back from last year. This one too, this is pretty big now. Then I built this trellis for cucumbers, and I got a bunch of cucumbers. There's a plant back there, I can see it. Lots of flowers, it's growing great. And then underneath, that lettuce plant right there, I chopped it right down to the root and gave it away, and it's growing back. A bunch of little volunteer tomato plants, and back there you can see onions or chives or something. It just keeps coming back year after year. And this little fella here, that's a potato plant that I didn't think was going to come up, but it did. And there's more potatoes right there, and I just took just little choppings that I took out of the kitchen, and those are Idaho potatoes or whatever, the brown kind. A big cherry tomato plant that's as tall as me. And then I opened up this area and I planted some cilantro in there, and there's my strawberry patch that I pulled out most of it. And then onto the other bed. Got a whole tomato farm here. And these back ones, I don't believe they're cherries. I guess there's something bigger. But I cropped them all up the first 2 feet or so, and took all those leaves off, and they're growing nice and tall. The tomatoes just all coming in. These are basil plants that are hurting a little bit, but they're good to plant in. I got planted in between my tomatoes. Of course, I got what do you call those little flowers? Well, whatever they're called, I forget now, but they keep they scent the garden, marigolds. They scent the garden, so it keeps kind of some of the pests away. And these little rosemary plants that I planted too to keep the pests away, because last year all the corn got eaten up by the deer. They jumped the fence, jumped right over, came in and ate it all up. There's a pepper plant, it's doing really good. Doesn't have any peppers on it, but got a bunch of flowers. And then here I just mixed in all my compost and some coconut coir, and down this aisle is you can see the little sticks here. That's all carrots, and that's all carrots. Even though I had that big bed of carrots that went to seed, I don't know if any of them are going to be good to eat. Then I took some of the strawberry plants and planted them in between, because they'll cover up the ground. I got leaf mulch down now, but always good to have good green cover. Even in between the corn, I'm just letting all the weeds grow up there. Then I just chop them and drop them. It's good green manure. And let's see, over here we have some blueberries that we just planted this year. It actually had some blueberries on it. That's funny. It's tiny. And that plant, and then that's a big rosemary plant that grew in the garden. I transplanted out here, and wasn't doing too good under a bunch of razor grass, and then I took the razor grass out, and now it's coming back. It just needed some sunlight. And that's about it. Almost forgot. These are oh, there's a potato bug. Get rid of him. But these are red bliss potatoes that I just sliced and threw in the ground. They're getting ready to pick actually. That looks pretty healthy, but all this yellow and stuff, I'm just waiting for it to die off, and I'll give it an extra week or two and pull them out of the ground. I'm excited. I'm excited for all these carrot seeds. There's thousands of them. I'll never need carrot seed again. Oh, wait a minute. That's all kale that came back from last year. That overwintered. And now there's just a ton of seed. All this. Whoops. All that's got seed in it. So I'll save them. And again, more volunteer tomato plants. They just come up, so I'll string them up from the top of the trellis here, and so they'll grow up straight, and we'll see what kind of tomatoes they are. Never know. It's always fun to find out. I just get a big kick out of things that just grow up and I didn't plant them. Okay, that's that. Looks like today I'm gonna plant a little bit of peas. Even though there's not a whole lot of sunlight going on by the trellis, I'm gonna plant some there, see how it does, and also gonna plant some in between the corn. Do like a kind of a Three Sisters things without the squash. I had bad squash bugs at one time, so probably not gonna plant squash again. Took me years to get rid of them organically, of course, but that's probably why it took so long. Okay, let's get to planting. Okay, well, it says to put the seeds about 2 inches apart, and then or no, wait a minute, 2 inches apart and double rows spaced 6 inches apart. Well, that's confusing, and I don't have to worry about the rows because I'm not sticking them in rows. And then it says to put them in high sunlight. Well, they're gonna get what they get, and we'll see how it does. I'm gonna do this like I do everything. I kind of overcrowd the garden, and it really does help me with pest deterrents because they can't get a good whiff on any one thing. There's another volunteer tomato plant. Got them all over the place. Oh, lettuce growing down there. That's good. Wind planted those just a couple weeks ago, and right here on this side is where I'm gonna plant them. Up, but there's another pepper plant. It's grown pretty good, even though it's a little bit in the shade. And I'm gonna plant these out here, and I'm just gonna stick my finger up to, right about the little past the first bend. That's close to an inch or a half an inch, a little bit deeper, and then I'll just plop them in the ground like I do everything. Finally figured out what the name of this cactus was. It started out from just like one of those things stuck in the ground, and now it's growing like crazy. But that's called a prickly pear. And actually almost every part, I don't know about the roots, but almost every part is edible. The flower is edible. It's like a lettuce, and then a little fruit on the end, which doesn't get as big as the ones I've seen in the pictures, but there's lots of it. And then even the whatever you would call them, the petals. I'm not sure how to get the spines off of them, but as far as I know, it's all edible. Alright, well, I hope you like the tour of the garden, and I'll be back again maybe and go over some things like composting and rainwater harvesting and things like that I do here to keep everything completely organic. Okay, have a good one now. Bye.